Hello everyone, this is part 19 of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Dojutsu, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Next morning. Come on Anko-chan, Kurenai-chan. You have to fight longer. Mix your speed with your taijutsu, Naruto ordered while Kurenai and Anko spared with each other. Naruto had been teaching Kurenai and Anko since they suddenly and unexpectedly became a part of his little training group, not that anyone minded. Naruto just used the Kage Bunshin jutsu to its limits as he taught Kurenai, Anko, Hinata and Fu while he was taught by Kushina and Kyubi. It was now nearly the end of the morning with the sun high in the sky. It was good that there were no missions for anyone to do, so they had the time to train like they wanted. To everyone, Naruto was a good trainer and most wondered why he didn't apply for the regular Jonin position, which the blonde said he would if he thought it over a little more. Alright, you two can stop, Naruto said, and immediately the two Jonin stopped their movements and huffed. Kurenai wiped her brow while the sweat dripped down her face. Anko took a small slip of water from the river next to their little camp. Man, he's intense, Kurenai said, and Anko nodded in agreement with her friend. They both let a small breeze blow past their faces. Well, we did ask him for training and he's delivered it to us. Come on Nai-chan, it's always good to be intense sometimes, Anko stated, and Kurenai could acquiesce with that completely. She had seen Naruto in a different light over the times she had met him. She really did think that the blonde had potential and he wasn't bad looking at all. Even if she would never admit it to herself and more or less Anko, she knew that she might have been starting to feel something for the blonde Tokubutsu shinobi. She knew about Naruto having Tsume and Hana for mates, and she secretly wondered if that meant that Tsume was alright with sharing a man. Little did Kurenai know that her friend was thinking the same thing. Anko had to say that she was fascinated by Naruto. She had been since the first time he dodged her kunai and had the gall to actually threaten or stand up to her during the Chunin exams. She knew that not many shinobi had that much balls when facing her. He really was good looking in Anko's opinion, and she more than made that evident to the times she flirted with him. Naruto had even responded to MOT of her flirts, and she did enjoy a tease every once in a while. Contrary to what people thought about her, Anko was completely be-loving woman that most saw her as. Nah, she was just a woman looking to scare people and even get a man to try and come after her if they could. To her, Naruto was probably that type of man. Anko, what are you thinking? Kurenai asked, and Anko chuckled before rubbing the back of her head. Nothing, Nai-chan. Absolutely nothing, she said before getting back up to her feet and walked off somewhere with Kurenai following her. Meanwhile, Naruto could smile as he saw Hinata's progress. It was still too soon to tell anything, but he knew that Hinata was working hard in her endeavors with the Juken. It still surprised Naruto that Hiashi would allow him to train his daughter, but he didn't really care. He was more than happy to do it any day. Come on Hinata, strike harder and faster, Naruto instructed as he watched Hinata exchange blows with one of the blonde's clones. Naruto knew how to hold back, and he also knew when he was letting someone off, but he was sure to be mixing it in between the two. I understand Naruto-kun, Hinata said as she put more power into her techniques to make her training work. She had been training all morning, and the last thing she wanted was for the one person who she admired to see her not try anymore. Hinata struck the clone and sent it into a tree while she huffed, but the clone quickly rebounded and charged back at her. Hinata wiped her head and got back into her Juken stance. In another part of the area, Naruto grinned while Fu pouted her face at him. Come on Fu-chan, just keep at it, Naruto said as Fu glared at him. She had been practicing her strokes for Fuinjutsu for who knows how long. Her arms were tired and she really hated it. Naruto was being very strict in his Fuinjutsu, but on the results that she saw she could understand. She still remembered what happened when she misspelled one word and nearly burned the forest if Naruto didn't stop her. The blonde consoled the Nanabi Jinchuriki and told her that when he first started out he didn't like it either, but he got it down and he knew she would. Fu smiled with a nod and continued at it. Alright Naruto-kun, I'll keep trying, but I tell you that I hate this art. Now I see why no one uses it, Fu said, and Naruto laughed with Fu laughing with him. Maybe, but do you know how awesome you'll be when you master it? Naruto asked, and Fu looked at the sky and imagined herself as a fuinjutsu mastered. Naruto watched as she got a gleam in her eyes and her smile widened before she got back to drawing, which made Naruto sweet drop at her. Whatever he thought Fu saw, it must have been something really good as he watched our progress. Currently, Naruto, the real Naruto, was laying on the ground huffing away while Kyuubi and Kushina stood over him. The two had decided to combine their training with Naruto since the blonde was using chakra in his cage bunshin to teach the other women. Kyuubi had told Kushina what she was teaching Naruto and told her of all the knowledge she knew about the Sage of Six Paths, which did involve disclosing the secret, and Naruto feared the worst, but Kushina told him that she already knew, and when the blonde asked her why she didn't panic or go overboard, she simply replied that Kyuubi hadn't done anything yet, and if she did then Kushina would have seen her in half. Simple as that. Maybe you should teach Naru-kun some doton jutsus if that's the case. As for the yin release, I have no idea about it, so I can't help you there. If Naru-kun had doton jutsus under his belt, then that might help you both with his problem, Kushina stated, making Kyuubi and Naruto agree with her. Sakana-chan, do you know any doton techniques? Naruto asked, and Kyuubi rubbed the back of her head in embarrassment. Sorry, I really don't. I know maybe 1 to 3 because I just never bothered to learn that many. I just know the basic principles behind it, Kyuubi said, and Naruto sighed. Oh well, the blonde would take what he could get for the moment. With Kasumi. Kasumi roamed the village as she was sent by Naruto to deliver a note to the Inuzuka compound. Kasumi had long since delivered it to one of their clan members, so before she went back she would enjoy a simple walk around the village. She watched the people talk to each other and simply enjoyed the fresh air that was around her. She had talked with her father about it when she could, and Kuromaru was happy that she had adapted well, though he never thought that she would be a half-human, but it was what Kasumi wanted, to he respected his girl's decision. Kasumi had been a half-human for at least half a year now, and she was more or less used to it by this time. Sigh, I wonder what I should do now. Naruto-sama is working with the others and I delivered his message, so what should I do? Kasumi wondered, but she got her answer when she saw Tsunade walking through the village. Hey Tsunade, Kasumi yelled out, making Tsunade turn to her. She recognized Kasumi as she always did. She would have scolded the girl for not adding the Sama out of respect to her name, but Kasumi had told her one time that she only said Sama to Naruto since he was her most precious person. Oh Kasumi, how are you? Tsunade asked, and Kasumi smiled while her tail waved around. It still surprised her that no one found this strange in their eyes, but maybe they figured she was in a henge to look this way, so she kept it like that. I'm fine. Just delivered a note to the Inuzuka clan for Naruto-sama. He also told me about the note that you sent to all the jonin. What is this HPT thing? Kasumi asked, and Tsunade grinned. The dog girl was really interested now while Tsunade chuckled. So you know about that? Well, only Shizune and myself know, but would you like to? I refuse to spread this until about 2 to 3 weeks. It's gonna be so good, Tsunade said, and Kasumi vowed that she wouldn't tell a soul until Tsunade would, and the Godime Hokage seemed to trust her, and she whispered into Kasumi's ears. It's my own little version of fun. I call it the Hokage Placement Tournament, Tsunade whispered, and Kasumi widened her eyes. Her tail began to wag around. Tsunade's grin got bigger as she explained the entire meaning of everything to Kasumi, and needless to say Kasumi was very surprised and couldn't wait till Tsunade announced this. Naruto-sama would have a fit about it. With Kimimaro. The bone user sighed as he opened his eyes. He didn't remember anything after last night. He remembered Tsunade rushing inside and making him change his clothes. He did so, and then Tsunade, Shizune and the other Konoha medics took him into a room where he fell asleep. He could only think that it was the surgery that Tsunade had promised to do. Kimimaro groaned as he sat up, but he was slowly pushed down by Shizune. It's good to see you're up, Kimimaro-san, Shizune said as she wrote on a notepad. Kimimaro looked at the ceiling for a second, then at Shizune. How long have I been out? He asked while Shizune stopped writing for a second to answer him. All night and most of the morning. We did your surgery, which was a brilliant success. I'm not writing down the things you'll need for a few days, then you can leave good as new so long as you get your calcium. You should be better in the next 3 to 4 days just to recover from your surgery, so for now I'd like you to rest, the medic said, and Kimimaro laid back down before closing his eyes. Thank you Shizune-san, Kimimaro said before going to sleep, and Shizune smiled as she turned out the light and left. With Kiba. Ah, come on. How much longer do I have to stay in here? Kiba asked, making Tenten giggle at him. The Inuzuka had been given rest for another day or two, but he insisted that he was fine. Kiba calmed down. Yelling won't get you out of here any faster, Tenten told him, making Kiba pout at her. The Inuzuka boy sat down and sighed as he leaned his head against the wall. This is so boring. I really want to start training right now. Right, Akamaru? Kiba asked, and Akamaru was about to agree with him, but he whimpered when he saw Tenten give a smile at him, making the dog keep quiet. Doesn't look like Akamaru agrees with you, Tenten said while Kiba glared at her. Or are you forcing him to be quiet? Kiba asked while Tenten whistled, making the Inuzuka smile at his girlfriend's playfulness. Tenten could make a great Inuzuka someday if she wanted to, or if she were a part of his family. HMPH, Naruto got to leave on the second day. Why don't I get to? Kiba asked, grumbling, and Tenten rolled her eyes. Because you're you. You're not Naruto, Kiba-kun. Now then, stay there while I got to sleep, Tenten said as she stayed on Kiba's seat. The Inuzuka blushed, but sighed with a small nod and gave up. He had already learned that Tenten couldn't be beaten in an argument except by a few people that the Inuzuka knew for himself. I guess I'm not going anywhere for a while. Oh well, I'll get out of here sometime, Kiba thought before finally going to sleep with Tenten beside him. With Haku. Alright Haku, I see you can go now, but take it easy for a few days, then you can get back to training like normal, Shizune said while Haku nodded. She was finally happy to be out of the hospital and couldn't wait to do something else other than lay in a bed all day. She heard that Choji was going to be released after her along with Shikamaru. Neji and Kiba was still a case, but Haku knew that it was life. Besides, she would finally be able to start her training with Tsunade. Thank you Shizune-san. Do you know where I could find Tsunade-sama? Haku asked, and Shizune thought it over. She should be in the Hokage mansion doing those doents like I asked her to. Go check there, the medic woman replied, and Haku bowed with her thanks as she left. Haku let the sun hit her face and smiled. She had felt so good to be out of there. She also couldn't wait to see Naruto. Haku had missed the blonde even if it was a few days. Suddenly Haku was brought from her thoughts, but someone next to her. Haku-san, you got released from the hospital, Kasumi said next to her, and Haku smiled. She turned to her friend and nodded. Yeah, it feels good. So what are you doing, Kasumi? Haku asked while Kasumi shrugged her shoulders. Just enjoying the village for now, but I know something good is going to happen, Kasumi said, and suddenly Haku was all ears. What is it? Haku asked, but Kasumi just grinned and walked off. I can't tell you. I promise Tsunade. See you back at the compound, Kasumi said, walking off while Haku raised an eyebrow. What secret could Kasumi have that would make her act like that? Oh well, I guess I'll find out later. Kasumi can be like an open book when it comes to secrets, Haku said to herself and walked off towards the Hokage mansion. With Sasuke. Sasuke grumbled as he saw in his prison cell. He had 3 more days of this crap to deal with, but he was lucky to only get 4 days in jail, but it was a bigger pain. The people that the Uchiha met were insane. A lot of them turned out to be Uchiha haters, and Sasuke was probably smart enough to know that MOT of them could kick his ass, so he didn't pick that much of a fight with them. Especially not with the chakra restriction seal added to his back keeping him in place. Sasuke sighed as he looked at his lonely bed. The place felt the same as his compound. The Uchiha sighed again and slightly banged his head on the wall. This is so stupid. I should be out getting stronger, but I'm in here. How nice is that? Sasuke said to himself, but he got a response. Please brat, be lucky you've only got 4 days in this dump. I hate brats like you who think they can do what they want. Hell, even I didn't betray my village. You really need a life, one of the inmates said while Sasuke snorted. And look where that got you, Sasuke said, making a long pause come between the two. I suppose you have a point. I still don't like you, the man said, and Sasuke rolled his eyes. Whatever, Sasuke said, mellowing down slightly as he brunched up against the wall of his cell. The food was disgusting, and even worse were the living qualities, but that was prison. You're just like your brother, the man said, and Sasuke gritted his teeth. He s his fist into the wall, leaving a small crater. I'm nothing like him. Sasuke yelled. So many people said he was like Itachi. How in the hell was he the same? Naruto pointed some stuff out, but Sasuke refused to admit it even if the blonde made sense. Say it all you want, but you know the truth, brat. You're just like Itachi, the mysterious man said, and Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Soon all the inmates started in on it, making taunts at Sasuke for being like Itachi, and it was driving the Uchiha up the wall. Like Itachi, like Itachi, like Itachi. Sasuke grinned his teeth at it all, and he felt his anger flaring even more. He would have to go through another 3 days of this man Kami was so fair yet cruel at the same damn time. I'm not Itachi. I'm not Itachi. I'll never be like him. I'll show them all. Sasuke shouted in thought while he grinned and sat in silence. Just a day in here and he was already about to lose his mind. With Yugao. Yugao seemed to be in a better mood as of late, and her Anbu friends took notice of it. She was a lot more involved in conversation and she was talking more. Some were curious as to why she had the sudden change in attitude, but she never told them. And why are you in such a pleasant mood? One of them asked the cat mask wearing Anbu. Yugao smiled and shrugged her shoulders. Nothing really. Just glad to get some things off my shoulders. Now are there any missions for us today? She asked, and some of them shook their heads and pouted. No. Tsunade-sama has requested that all Anbu come back to Konoha. Some kind of even for all Jonin and Tokubutsu Jonin is to be going on, another said, and Yugao raised an eyebrow. What kind of event? She asked her superiors. Most of them shrugged their shoulders and said that they had no idea on what it could be, which piqued the purple-haired Anbu's interest to find out. Well, since we don't have any missions, why are we still here? Yugao asked while another person came up to her and her group. Well, we're on standby just in case. Can't get too lazy, can we? He asked while Yugao sighed. Hey Weasel, still hiding out here? Yugao asked, making the man twitch an eyebrow though they couldn't see it. I'm gonna forgive that cat since you seem to be in a good mood, Weasel stated, making Yugao chuckle behind her mask. Oh well, since we're on standby I'm going to go out, Yugao told them and walked away. Really? What has her in such a good mood? Weasel asked, but no one had a response for it cause they didn't know either at all. At the Inuzuka compound, Hana sighed as she leaned on the table. She was so bored. The vet was closed today and she had no idea where Naruto was, so she could bug him like she wanted to. Suum had a mission and was gone, so it was just here and some other people. Hana sighed again and stood to her feet. Let's see, Kiba's still in the hospital, Car-san's out on a mission, and Naruto-kun is somewhere probably training. Sigh. What can I do? Hana wondered as she sat on her chair. Soon a knock on the door broke the Chunin from her stupor and she walked towards the door. She turned to see the Heimaru brothers sleeping the day away, and she wondered if she should do that after she answered the door. Hello, she asked, opening the door, and the sight surprised her. Mind some company? An Anbu asked, and Hana raised an eyebrow. With how you're almost never around, I thought you would have forgot about me, Hana said, and the Anbu removed the mask from their face. How could I forget you? Sure, I didn't hang around much, but I thought we were still friends, the female Anbu said to Hana. Well, that's being an Anbu, I guess, right, Yugao? Hana asked, still grinning, and Yugao nodded also. Where are Anko and Kurenai? Yugao asked, and Hana rolled her eyes. If she knew that, then she wouldn't be at home bored to death for something to do. I have no idea. So what's up? Hana asked, as she knew that Anbu were regularly busy and didn't have that much time to socialize with just anyone. Well, all the Anbu got called back, so I figured I'd check on you. Come on and take a walk with me, Yugao said, and Hana stepped out of the house to follow her friend. Somewhere near Konoha. It's been a long time since we had a meeting with Konoha of all villages. I hope we can get through this without any trouble, someone said with a yawn. Oh, stop your whining, Darui. I can't believe you want to go through with this Raikage-sama, another said next to him. Right behind the three men was a woman in her late teens. Stop your complaining, see. Raymond has been a thorn in our sides for a long time, and we finally get to meet the brat who K him. I wouldn't mind having a spar with him myself, the Raikage said while making the woman behind them giggle. Raikage, if you did that then they would really hate us, she said while C nodded in agreement with her. Yugito, give the brat some credit. It's not every day that an A-rank missing nin gets beaten, Raikage said while Darui rolled his eyes. Whoever this guy is, I'd rather not fight him either. Even Yugito can't beat an A-rank missing nin, Darui said, and she chuckled while Yugito narrowed her eyes. Don't crack jokes, Darui, or I'll show you how a Jinchuriki can really fight, Yugito said while Darui sighed. Oh yeah, use Nibi on me, Yugito. That's real fair, Darui responded, said, making Yugito chuckle. And besides, why are we in such a hurry? We could have taken another day or two to get there, yet we left as soon as we got their reply, she said, and Reikage grinned. It doesn't matter right now. Let's just hurry up and get there, the Reikage said as they walked away. Man, he's in a hurry. Whoever this kid is, he must be quite impressive. I hope he's good looking too, Nibi said, coming into the conversation. Yugito sighed at her Bayu and wondered why she chose this time to talk. Are you being too cold, kitten? Just a little longer and you can meet your soon-to-be husband, Nibi said, and Yugito rolled her eyes. I hope you're right, Nibi. I guess, Yugito said as they walked towards Konoha. With Tsunade. Tsunade sighed as she s her head on the desk. She had just kept going through paperwork after paperwork, and the damn pile just seemed to be getting bigger and bigger. There was no visible end in sight for the goddamn Hokage, and to make matters worse for the female Sanin, her apprentice and her assistant both came through the door at the same time. Tsunade-sama, we have an urgent report, Shizune said, making Tsunade rub her temples. Haku decided to wait for her chance to talk while Tsunade responded. What is? Tsunade asked, and Shizune bowed. It seems that Reikage and his escorts are on their way here right now. They will arrive in about 10 minutes, Shizune said, and Tsunade widened her eyes along with Haku. He's what? Tsunade yelled, making the building shake, and Haku felt the urge to leave. He says that he'd like to meet Naruto when he arrives, Shizune told her, and Tsunade cursed underneath her breath. Haku raised an eyebrow at what the Reikage could want with Naruto while Tsunade walked out the door. She still remembered that Naruto was in the Forest of Death so she could reach him, but she had to greet the Reikage right now. Shizune, send an Anbu to go get the brat. Tell him about the Reikage coming, Tsunade said, and Shizune nodded. Haku tapped Tsunade's shoulder, making the Hokage turn around in a hurry. Haku, what is? Tsunade asked in a bit of a hurry. I can go get Naruto-kun. My speed is just as fast as any Anbu's, Haku said, and Tsunade nodded, but told Haku to hurry, and the ice user ran off in a hurry to go get Naruto. Luckily, Tsunade had mentioned where she could find Naruto and quickly ran to the Forest of Death. Back with Naruto. The blonde sighed as he was taught the basics to Doton techniques. He was already had Futon, Kaiten, and Raiten affinities, but this was going to be much harder since he had no idea what to expect from using Doton techniques. Kyubi instructed the blonde as best she could in what she knew, but that wasn't much, and Naruto made it a point to go and visit the library for any Doton techniques or books on the such. Since that was the issue, Naruto and Kyubi had spent the time in having Naruto learn the yin release. Naruto still had his problems, but it was only the second day, so he would just have to deal. Naruto closed his eyes and allowed his imagination to roam. He thought of all the things that he could think of to make something appear. Kyubi told him to solely focus on a single object, anything that the blonde would like to see in real life, and make it happen. The key was to not let the mind wander too much and solely focus his chakra and his imagination to the limit to make it happen. Naruto breathed easily and thought about anything. He pictured a small bowl of ramen in front of him, making sure to be specific as to what he wanted to appear in it. Naruto's chakra flared and his breathing became steady. Kyubi and Kushina watched the blonde concentrated, and Kushina chuckled. He's grown. I never thought that he'd try to free Kyubi. I'm even more surprised that Kyubi's female, and even more surprised that she loves my Sochi. Naru-kun, you really are something else, Kushina thought with a grin before both saw Naruto leaned back with a sigh of frustration. Gar, this is impossible, Databio. Naruto yelled out, making Kyubi and Kushina giggle. Come on Naru-kun, you're on the right track, I'm sure. Just remember that you're dealing with high-level techniques. This is so much harder than the Haraishin that you got understand. It will take some time, Kana said, and Naruto pouted, but he understood what she was saying. He really wished he could use his Shinseinigan and copy the damn thing, but there would be no point, and besides a copy can't. I got it, Databio. Naruto yelled, shocking Kyubi and Kushina. The blonde looked around and picked up a leaf. He looked at it intently for a few minutes, then closed his eyes. He concentrated all his chakra and his thought on what he could remember from the leaf while Kyubi and Kushina watched. Slowly, But surely a small leaf was beginning to form in Naruto's left hand, making Kyuubi and Kushina widen their eyes. Naruto opened his eyes and gleamed as he showed him the leaf. I did it. I know now. The first step should be a copy. Yin release could be a copy of something. I take something I see and focus my chakra and imagination into it, then it appears. It takes chakra that required large reserves, but I got it. I just have to make a copy of something I see each time and then focus my chakra to my head to make it real, Naruto said while Kushina tried to wrap her mind around that way of thinking. Kyuubi seemed to understand it. If Naruto broke it down into step, then that made this a lot easier. It was definitely a lot easier than the step Kyuubi was trying for him. That's good, Naruto-kun. You've got the basics to it down. Now try that again with another leaf, Kyuubi said, and Naruto grabbed another one to get ready to try. Naruto-kun. Someone yelled, making Kyuubi, Kushina and Naruto turn to the noise. The blonde widened his eyes when he saw it was Haku racing through the trees. Hey Haku-chan, you're out of the hospital. That's great, Naruto said, and Haku huffed for a bit, but got serious. Naruto-kun, you need to go now. Tsunade-sama said that the Raikage is coming now. He arrived earlier than expected and wants to meet you, Haku said, and Naruto froze. He dropped his jaw and slumped. He coming? Now. It's 3 days to get from Kumo to Konoha, or at the least 2. Who is this guy? Naruto wondered, and Kushina smirked. If it was who she thought it was, then it was no surprise. Well, Sochi, if he's coming right now, then you need to go, Kushina said, and Naruto sighed. He need to take a shower, put on some new clothes, and just stop smelling like he was camping, which he was. Alright, I guess I'll go then. I'll come back later. Car-san, can you grab my swords for me? Naruto asked, and Kushina nodded. Sure, Sochi, but why? She asked, genuinely curious. Naruto rubbed the back of his head and slightly grinned. I feel better when they're with me. I don't know why, Naruto said, and Kushina shook her head at her son as she gave his 3 swords. They had been ringing a lot lately, and Naruto always felt the need to keep them close just for anything. They were his precious swords after all. Thank you, Car-san, Naruto said, and rushed off, leaving Kyuubi, Kushina and Haku behind. I think I'll go with him. You never know when he'll need some help on politics, Kyuubi said, and immediately puffed out of sight. So what are you all doing out here? Haku asked Naruto's mother, and Kushina's eyes seemed to shine a bit as she stared at Haku. Training camp, Kushina said, and Haku sweet-dropped. A what? Haku thought, but she had a feeling that Kushina would verify for her. With Naruto. Meanwhile, Naruto was racing through the trees as he felt a surge of chakra through his body. He grinned as he jumped through the trees. Come to keep me company? Naruto asked, and Kyuubi walked around the mindscape for a few minutes. If I left you to deal with politics, then it would be a disaster. Just call it insurance, Kyuubi said, and Naruto chuckled as he exited the forest and ran towards his house. I'm sensing a lack of faith here, Kana-chan, Naruto said, and Kyuubi chuckled as she walked into her old house while being welcomed into by the kids she remembered. Don't try to be funny. Just thought I'd look out for you, Naru-kun, Kyuubi said, and the blonde grinned, then used the Hiraishin to get to his house. He opened the door and ran up the stairs. The blonde took off his torn clothes and quickly headed into the shower, giving Kyuubi a good view of his form. Suffice to say that the fox woman blushed and nearly drooled at all the work and training that had been applied to that body. Kyuubi gulped as her eyes trailed his form. Naruto turned on the shower and his hair slowly covered his face while giving Kyuubi a full show. Damn, he's so good looking. I'd jump him now if I wasn't in this seal, Kyuubi thought as she watched Naruto take his shower. The blonde stayed in for about 5 minutes before stepping out and washing his hair. He was in a rush, so he didn't have time for a long shower that he would have wanted. Naruto dried his hair and his body before heading to his drawer and took out some clothes. He didn't have the time to completely pick, so the blonde simply wore his black pants and black shoes and a dark blue short-sleeve shirt. Over that was his Tokubutsu Jonin vest that he had yet to wear since he saw some people without it, but he decided to put it on over that and walked out with his swords and raced towards the Hokage mansion. It's a shame I couldn't enjoy that view a bit more, Kyuubi said with a sigh while Naruto blushed. Now isn't the time for that, Kyuubi-chan, and you know it, Naruto said while Kyuubi was sure to nod. With Tsunade. Well, Raikage Dono, it's nice to meet you so early. Mind explaining why you came this early? We weren't expecting you for another 2 or 3 days, Tsunade said while Reikage stood across from her with Darui, and Yugito behind him. The Reikage grinned while he looked at Tsunade. The slug princess. Well, I was just interested in what the brat looked like. Maybe he takes after his mother or his father. Plus I like to get things like this out of the way if you know what I mean, or asked, and Tsunade nodded. She had next to her Kakashi Hatake and Asuma Sarutobi next to her while Shizune was behind her. Yes, I understand, but isn't a marriage proposal kind of sudden? Tsunade asked, making Asuma widen his eyes and Kakashi do the same in turn. Someone's getting married to Akumo Nin. I wonder who it is, Asuma thought, and Kakashi wondered the same thing. Well, surely you can understand how the defeat of an A-rank missing nin could become such a big deal. Since you have your own, said, making Tsunade narrow her eyes. She really didn't know if he meant Itachi or Orochimaru, but she sure as hell knew that he wanted her to ask, but she wouldn't. I suppose I do. All the elemental nations have S-rank missing nins, so I can understand that, Tsunade said as she felt a trying her nerves, and it really was working. Sigh. Reikage-sama, why do you have to instigate people? This is so dull, Darui thought with a yawn while Yugito wondered if their Reikage would get blasted through the roof for his mouth. However, luckily for them all, there was a knock on the door, making everyone turn their attention to it. Finally, he's here. I almost couldn't take much more of this, Tsunade thought and sighed. I guess that's him. Come in, Tsunade said, and the door opened. Everyone was greeted to the sight of blonde hair on a young man who came through the door. Darui and C raised their eyebrow while Reikage scanned over him. Yugito seemed to look him over also, while Kakashi and Asuma were downright shocked. Am I late? Naruto asked, walking into the room. Tsunade grinned and placed her elbows on the table. No brat, you're right on time, Tsunade said as she stood to her feet. She grabbed Naruto to her side and introduced the blonde. This is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, who you sent the note to, Tsunade said, and looked at him. It was hard to believe that he was a Tokubutsu Jonin at his age, but stranger things in the world have happened. So you're Naruto Namikaze. You really take after your father, said, while Darui and C were sure to nod in agreement with him. Thank you, I guess, Naruto replied, since he wasn't sure what to do in such a situation. Maybe he was lucky to have Kyuubi around. The blonde then noticed to call Yugito to the front, and Naruto saw the cute and very attractive blonde across from him. Well, he's certainly not bad looking. I think he's a keeper kitten. Granted, he's younger than you and he's already close to rank as you, Nibi stated, and Yugito narrowed her eyes, but bowed. It's nice to meet you, Naruto-san. I'm Yugito ni, the blonde said, and Naruto nodded with a cheeky grin. Just Naruto is fine. I've never been one formalities, Yugito-san, Naruto said, making Yugito raise an eyebrow, but she nodded anyway. I still find it hard to believe that you came all this way because I defeated an A-rank missing nin, Naruto said, and everyone could nearly fault. The blonde said it like it was the simplest thing in the world. Cute and funny. I like him, Nibi said while everyone straightened themselves out. Well, it's quite a shock for us. As you received our note, we'd like a marriage proposal to you and Yugito as a way of thanks. Also, we're here to give you Raymond's possessions. We hope this will solidify a sort of treaty between Kumo and Konoha, Reikage said, and Naruto narrowed his eyes. Everyone waited for Naruto to say something, and the blonde felt all the stares on him, but before he could do anything, he asked his question. How does Yugito-san feel about it? Naruto asked, making the older blonde raise an eyebrow. Everyone wasn't sure where this was going, but Yugito replied anyway. I'm okay with it, Naruto-san, Yugito said, and Naruto sighed. Kakashi felt something was wrong with Naruto, and so did Asuma and Tsunade. C could tell by some means, and so could Darui, but no one was sure why. I didn't ask what you thought about it, I asked how you felt about it, Naruto said, making Yugito widen her eyes. Everyone turned to Yugito for an answer, making the Nibi Jinchuriki nervous. Wow, he's good. I remember when you first heard about it. You weren't happy at all, kitten. I think he knows that. Looks like you can't fool this one, Nibi said, but Yugito was in too much thought to answer her Bayu. I said I'm alright with it, Naruto-san, Yugito said, and the blonde sighed again. Bar-chan, can I go now? Naruto asked, shocking the entire room with his question. Why? She asked, confused, and Naruto turned to Yugito before turning back. I don't like people who lie to themselves, Naruto said, and walked out of the room. Naruto, Kakashi thought with a long gaze as he saw his student had left. Darui and C sighed as they could sort of tell how Naruto felt. Yugito might have agreed to it, but she never really agreed to it. Please give Naruto some time. This might be new to him, Tsunade said and nodded. I'll prepare some rooms for all of you, Tsunade told them and everyone bowed to her, but as soon as she bowed Yugito left the room and took off after Naruto to get an explanation which showed some genuine surprise to her Kumo group. Wow, she's never gone after any guy before. This might be interesting to see, Darui thought with a grin. With Naruto, the blonde sighed as he walked away from the Hokage mansion. He knew that was probably the wrong move to make and he hoped he didn't upset Yugito or insult her, but he didn't like something like that. Naruto-kun, are you alright? Kyuubi asked and Naruto stopped walking. He sighed and stood in the middle of the street. Sorry Kyuubi-chan. I probably shouldn't have said that. I don't know why I did, but I can tell in her eyes that she hated the idea, Naruto said and Kyuubi nodded. Having an arranged marriage and having to move to a new village must have taken a toll on the woman, so no wonder Naruto could notice it. I suppose I should at the very least apologize maybe, Naruto said and Kyuubi agreed. That might be the best thing for you right now, Kyuubi said and Naruto nodded with her. Naruto-san. Yugito yelled running through the crowd of people. Naruto turned around and saw Yugito coming at him and the blonde raised an eyebrow. Kami's weird, Naruto thought, making Kyuubi giggle with a nod, but she definitely had to agree with it. Yugito-san, Naruto said, still a little shocked that she came after him. Yugito sighed and quickly looked down in contempt. I'm sorry. You were right. I did hate it. I didn't know you and I'm gonna be living here, so I was upset, Yugito said, and she really wasn't sure why she was spilling her thoughts like this, but she felt that Naruto probably deserved to know, and judging by Naruto's small smile he appreciated the honesty. You said you did hate it, right? Naruto asked and Yugito slightly blushed. Well, you're at least considerate, so I probably jumped to the conclusion that you weren't. I'm still not sure as to a marriage with you, but I don't mind getting to know you better, Yugito said and Naruto nodded in agreement with her. I'd like that also Yugito-san, and please call me Naruto, the blonde said, and Yugito wondered why he wanted that, but she didn't mind it at all. Alright then Naruto-sa, I mean Naruto, Yugito corrected and the blonde nodded. Alright then, I'll see you later then, Naruto said, running off. Yugito merely nodded and watched him leave. Wow, not only did you run after him, but you also said you'd look forward to getting to know him. Maybe being here won't be so bad after all, Nibi said, and Yugito nodded in agreement with that. I suppose it will, Yugito said and immediately left. Back with Tsunade. I guess I'll leave it at that for today. I'll give him this scroll tomorrow after he's calmed down. Not sure why, but that's beside the case. Oh, and Reikage, don't know how long can you stay in Konoha? Tsunade asked, raised an eyebrow along with C and Darui. I was only planning to stay for a few days then head back to Kumo. Why do you ask? Asked, and Tsunade's grin got bigger while Kakashi and Asuma turned to her before they saw Shizune face palm herself on the head. Well, we have an event that's going to happen in Konoha. It's an event I designed and I thought you and your shinobi would like to watch since we're allies now, Tsunade said, and A narrowed his eyes. Darui and C glanced at each other and wondered what event the Slug Princess was talking about. And what event is that? Asked, genuinely curious to know. It's called the HPT and it starts in 2 weeks. I'll be making the announcement next week and I hope you can watch if you have the time, Tsunade said, making Asuma and Kakashi turn to her in surprise since, like Naruto, they got their invitations also. Well, I'm interested to know what this is, said, and Tsunade smiled before telling Kakashi and Asuma to leave. Once the Jonin left, she placed up a privacy seal and told her entire idea. Now that does sound interesting. I think I will stay. I can have my assistant take over for the next few weeks and I could stay here, said, and Tsunade's grin got even bigger while she rubbed her hands together. Meanwhile, Darui and C moved close to Shizune. Your Hokage is very creative, Darui told her, and Shizune sighed. I don't know where she gets it from, she said with her head hung down. Well, at least Konoha is interesting, I guess. This will be interesting to watch, C said, and soon the meeting was put to rest between the two Kage. Konoha hospital room. The certain redhead laid in the bed of the hospital and groaned herself awake. She wasn't sure how long she had been out since the last thing she remembered was getting blown away by some blonde bee fan. Shizune came into the room and smiled at her patient before taking out a chart. Well, you're finally awake, she said, making the redhead groan. Who the F are you, lady? She asked, making Shizune's eyebrow twitch. I'm your doctor for today. Now then, you're Tayuya, right? Shizune asked on the chart, making the female nin sit up. That's right, but what the F is it to you, lady? Tayuya asked, and Shizune smiled before taking a deep breath. Well, I'd rather know my patient's name so I don't get medication mixed up. And would you stop cursing all the time? Shizune asked, making Tayuya growl. F you. I'll curse when I want to and before. You got that? She yelled, but then the air got cold as Shizune smiled eerily, which made Tayuya gulp. I really must insist that you stop cursing or I'll leave you to S in this bed right now, Shizune said, keeping her smile, making Tayuya shiver slightly. Maybe she could go a few minutes without cursing if it meant she would live. So where the am I anyway? Tayuya asked, and Shizune's smile brightened. You're in Konoha. You've been sleeping for about 5 days maybe. Your friend asked us to help you, so we did. After your failed attempt to take Sasuke, we took you back here, Shizune explained, and Tayuya sighed. Great, I can't go back to Orochimaru now. Heal. Kami, and it's not like these F are gonna let me leave either. And who the hell is this friend she's talking about? Tayuya thought, and Shizune walked out of the room. You should be lucky though, for 2 reasons, Shizune said, bringing Tayuya's attention to her. And why the hell is that? Tayuya asked, letting her small feeling out, but Shizune ignored it for that time. Well, for one, that we helped you out. We normally don't treat criminals here, but Kimimaro-san told us that he would really appreciate it if we helped you, Shizune said, making Tayuya widen her eyes. Kimimaro helped her. He was here. He's here. Tayuya asked, and Shizune nodded, pointing to the room 2 doors down from Tayuya. He's resting now, so don't disturb him. He just went through some surgery for his disease. Also, the next thing you should be happy for is that you aren't in prison, Shizune said, and Tayuya raised an eyebrow. Naruto-kun placed his clan on the line and said that he would take full responsibility for your actions to this point, so we can't do anything since he's the clan head. Though we'd appreciate it if you'd give us intel on Orochimaru like Kimimaro-san did, Shizune said, and Tayuya gasped. This was nothing like the Kimimaro she knew. Tayuya stayed silent for those few times to try and process Shizune's words. She remembered Naruto as one of the brats who got in her way to deliver Sasuke to Orochimaru along with his friends. Why would he protect her? She tried to K the Uchiha, so this didn't make any sense to her at all. Well, I'm gonna go now. Try and rest, Tayuya-san, Shizune said, leaving the room. This place is weird and I need to see Kimimaro, Tayuya thought as she stared off into the distance, but if someone looks close enough then they saw a smirk on her face. Maybe she was happy to be away from Orochimaru. Nighttime. Tayuya got out of her bed and slowly crept towards the door. She wasn't sure why she was sneaking around, but that was beside the point at the time. She slowly opened her door and walked through the hallway. Tayuya wasn't sure if she should run or try to leave, but she at least wanted to know why Kimimaro would do something like this before she left. Not that she knew where she was going to go, but that was beside the point. Tayuya came up to Kimimaro's door and slid it open. She walked inside and sure enough she saw Kimimaro, but he wasn't sleeping, rather he was looking out the window at the moon shining over the village. Kimimaro, Tayuya said, and the bone user turned around to see Tayuya coming toward him. He might have kept an impassive face, but he feels some happiness that she was alright. He wasn't sure why, but he tolerated Tayuya a lot more than the others. I take it you're better if you're getting up, Kimimaro said, leaning up from his bed while Tayuya grabbed him by his collar. What did you do, damn it? I thought you'd never betray Orochimaru. You know I hate the guy, but you also know how strong he is. He'll K the both of us if we don't do something. Why did you bring us back here? Tayuya asked, trying to keep quiet as much as possible, but was failing badly. Kimimaro kept staring at her and the look unnerved Tayuya slightly. Tayuya, for the longest time I've known Orochimaru as my reason for living. If he didn't accept me then I was worth nothing to him. He felt the same way about you. So long as he got Sasuke he didn't care who Kimimaro said, and Tayuya couldn't dispute that fact. She knew Kimimaro was right in that fact. Still, why? You even told him all the information you had, just tell me the why. Tayuya demanded, making her anger known while Kimimaro gazed out the window. It's because I have a new reason for living. When I learned that Orochimaru didn't need me anymore, he said that he would take me. He said spoke like he needed more, or rather wanted me. Not to throw my life away, but to have a new one. It's actually thanks to him that I'm even alive. I owe him my life, and even if you leave I'm going to stay here, Kimimaro said with a glare that wouldn't leave any room for an argument. Tayuya looked at Kimimaro and narrowed her eyes. It was the first time she had seen Kimimaro so approachable and certain of something like this. You really believe that this blonde S can protect us from Orochimaru? Tayuya asked, and Kimimaro didn't waste a second in pondering that question since he had the answer. I believe that if anyone is harmed or taken, then he will fight to bring them back. I know he can protect us, Tayuya. It's the reason why I told them that information about Orochimaru, because I trust Naruto-sama, Kimimaro said, and Tayuya growled. She really hated the calm and always sure of himself Kimimaro. She looked at him for quite a long time before letting go of his collar. She then headed for the door and sighed. I think you're being a stupid F to believe in some brat, and I still don't see what's so great about him, but if what you say is true, then I'll be the stupid F too and trust him. I still think this is a bad idea, Tayuya said, grinning as she left Kimimaro in his room. Kimimaro looked back out the room and sighed. Naruto-sama, you have your hands full with her, Kimimaro said to himself before going back to sleep. With Yugito and the others, the Raikage and his associates had stayed in a hotel thanks to Tsunde's courtesy and were already getting settled. It seemed that they would been staying in Konoha for a little while and were currently getting settled in their rooms and unpacked most of their clothes. Well, looks like we're staying in Konoha for a bit, Darui said, making C nod with a groan. All because of some event that their Hokage is planning for her shinobi. I admit I'm curious to know how it will turn out, C answered. Meanwhile I was talking with Yugito while handing her the scroll that he had earlier. Deliver this to the Namikaze brat. He's cheeky, but he deserves this. I think I'd be best if you gave this to him, said, and Yugito nodded with a sigh. She didn't think that she'd meet Naruto again so soon, but she nonetheless bowed. Yes, Raikage-sama, I'll go now, Yugito said as she left the room. Well, you seemed almost eager to do the job. Is he that interesting to you? Nibi asked, and Yugito sighed. I'm just delivering a scroll. Nothing more, nothing less, Yugito said, but then stopped before she sighed. She had no idea where his house even was. Yugito groaned before she came up to a woman a little shorter than her. Excuse me, but do you know where I can find the Namikaze compound? Yugito asked, and the girl nodded. Yeah, I live there with Naruto-sama. I'll take you to him, the girl said, and walked off with Yugito following. She especially paid attention to the tail the girl had and raised an eyebrow. Now I've seen everything, Yugito said, making Nibi laugh. Namikaze compound. Naruto sighed as he looked around his room. He was looking for a book for Fu to learn from since she was starting to get the form for good brush strokes down. That also reminded him that he would need to buy some more high-grade ink to use. Kuso, now where is that damn book databio? Naruto yelled out, looking through his bookshelf. Yeah, that's right, the blonde had a bookshelf. Suddenly the blonde heard a knock on the door and groaned. He made a cage bunchen to search for the book while he answered the door. Hello, Naruto asked, and immediately he was met with a hug. Hello Naruto-sama, Kasumi said, giving the blonde a hug before him. Naruto gasped from the feeling, but soon a cough interrupted the two and both turned to see a blushing Yugito staring at them. He really is popular. I know you were informed about the CRA, but still. If he's okay with a half-dog girl, then I wonder if he's alright with me, Nibi said, smirking at the idea, making Yugito sigh while Naruto got to his feet. Sorry about that, Yugito-san. I didn't expect you here. Can I help you? Naruto asked, and Yugito opened her pouch and gave Naruto a scroll. This is from Raikage-sama. He said he wanted to give this to you now, so I delivered it, Yugito told him, and Naruto took the scroll in his hands. Naruto thanked the older blonde and grinned. Well, since you came all the way out here, would you like something to drink? Naruto asked, and Yugito nodded since she was rather thirsty. She walked into the house and whistled that she was impressed. For someone of Naruto's age, the house was very clean. It was more like a mansion of not anything else, but Yugito didn't want to dream too much. Here you go, Naruto said, offering the Nibi Jinchuriki some water. Yugito thanked him as the blonde sat on the couch. He applied chakra to the scroll and soon some weapons, money and 2 books fell out. Naruto raised an eyebrow and Yugito wondered how much money Raymond left behind when he became a missing nin, but Naruto picked up the book that read, Journal, and the other was, Sword Mythology. The blonde opened the journal first and widened his eyes. Day 1, I've found possessed an elemental sword. It seems to really like me. I'm only a chunin and yet I feel a strong connection to this sword. It seems that Raten attacks don't work on me when I use this sword, or rather they're channeled into my sword. I think I've stumbled on something good. A true sword of myths. I feel like an old man for keeping this journal, but I must remember all of this. I don't know if there are more, but I believe there might be. Tomorrow I will go to the library to get the book on sword mythology. I think it might hold something inside it. Naruto closed the book and looked at his 3 swords. He narrowed his eyes and looked more intently at the lighting sword in its handle. What are you guys? Naruto wondered. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.